Shalom, people. This is Brother Laos coming at you with another video. And sometimes our human behavior can bring about the prophecies of the Most High Yah. How so? Revelations 6 and 8 talks about one of the sealed judgments being poured out, and how mankind would be killed with plagues and wars, and also attacked by wild beasts. Now, we know that the end times, or at least I believe the end times, started around the time that the Messiah first came to the earth. It was a time during his ministry when he said that the judgment of the evil one, Satan or Hasatan, had begun, and that the evil one had nothing that he could find in Messiah that was evil. Therefore he would be able to judge him, because anytime any of us would try to bring accusation even against one another, that's why we're so easily able to say, ye without sin cast the first stone. Although we use these scriptures about judgment wrong. It never said that we would be sinless, right? What it said was, if you was trying to judge one in a same sin that you were actively committing, you had no leg to stand on. But let's get back to the subject of the end times. I believe the end times started around that time, and then it culminated with Yeshua when he died on the cross and shed his blood for your sins. And that from then on, the countdown has begun for Hasatan to be dethroned as God of this earth, so that he is trying to take as many out as he can, and therefore you see this great multiplicity of deaths upon the earth ever since then. And one of the ways that it was going to happen was through wild beasts attacking mankind. We know that when the persecution of believers started in the Roman Empire, one of the ways that they killed them was they took them to the Colosseum games, and had them wrestle against lions and bears, threw them to crocodiles, tied them down and released stampedes of wild elephants to trample them to death. All kinds of wicked stuff that they allowed to happen to them using animals. We also know that as the European powers pushed into unknown areas, right, of Africa, Asia, and what they call the New World, was North and South America, the Western Hemisphere, they were attacked by wild creatures, wild animals. But that even after man so-called got domesticated, was able to so-called domesticate certain animals, that the animal attacks have continued. You think about the invasive species that were brought to different lands that took over. You think about the wild hog populations that they say now threaten to take out billions and billions of dollars of crops every year, with them rooting and also the attacks of the wild boars on people. That's and the thing about the wild boar, it is the cousin to the so-called domesticated pig. Some of these pigs got out and became feral hogs, but some of these wild boars were literally smuggled here into the Americas, and they escaped, made it with some domesticated pigs or some feral pigs, and created what you see, Hogzilla, these massive breeds of wild pigs that they say is just they can't hunt them enough. It's not enough. Not to mention the invasive species of reptiles, these boa constrictors, and these lizards, and all these other kinds of things that's just taking over. Not to mention mankind pushing further and further out into the wild to get away from the cities. They're going into these areas, like down in South Carolina and Florida. They're going into these areas where the alligators and crocodiles once hatched their babies, and some of these things are coming back with a vengeance. They're coming back into their areas now, and they're attacking. And in one case, a couple of months ago, down not too far from Myrtle Beach, one literally ate a man in a retention pond. And that's not even talk about the wild coyotes and all these things they're pushing so far back into the woods, that now this haunt where once packs of wild coyotes roam, they're still roaming now, but now they're roaming in the suburbs, and they're attacking and eating people's pets, and now some of them are attacking and killing people. Not to mention the dog attacks. Dogs were not always domesticated, they were wild, so they still had that nature in them. But we know that what they have done is caused dogs to be considered to be man's best friend or whatever, but yet they still had that wild nature in them. But the main point of them was not companionship at the beginning, it was protection. So that now people are not so much so getting the nice little dogs that you can pet. They're getting these ferocious exotic dogs like the Congals and the not to mention the pit bull terriers and all these things. And there's been over the last decades, there's been an uptick of attacks, not just on people from loose and stray dogs, but even attacks on the family members who own some of these dogs that get these exotic breeds that really was never meant to be amongst people, except for those who use them as sheep herders and stuff like that. They never was considered to be that. And so it's really getting out of control, but it's our behavior as humans. We're bringing about this prophecy by pushing out into further and further into nature, taking away their territory, and they coming back. Not to mention the oceans, right? Now that they've had, and something is going on with the ocean, and I think it has something to do with the, not just the plastic pollution that's in the ocean. I think it also has something to do with the Fukushima thing. That is, A lot of, I believe, it's affected the plankton. I think it's affected some of the seafood sources of the animals. Look at the die off of those crabs up there in Alaska. I think that there's a direct correlation between that and what's going on with the radiation that's been leaking from Fukushima that's still out there in the ocean. Not to mention the radiation. They got these underground domes that they buried a lot of radioactive materials from their nuclear testing back in the 50s, 60s, 70s, I think all the way up into the 80s, that they're saying some of these domes are starting to leak radiation into the Pacific. And because most of the stuff is it's heavy, it's gonna settle on the bottom, it's probably killing off all those crabs and all these different things. I think that's what's, along with the ocean becoming kind of heated up in there, which those crabs need. They need cold water. I think they're killing them off, and therefore that food source for a lot of sea creatures is going away. So now these sea creatures are coming around human populations where they know it's waste. They know there's other animals that's going to be coming around humans, and either they're going to attack those animals or they're going to attack you out there swimming. Have you seen the multiplicity of shark attacks on the East Coast in the last 20-30 years? You know, even popular destinations like Myrtle Beach, Wilmington, all these places, all you have to do is look at one of my video shorts that I have, and you'll see when me and my wife, a couple of years ago, was at Tybee Island, and these soldiers was out there fishing, and they kept catching these sharks and stingrays who were nice out. Now the one short video I got, that's just one of the sharks they caught. They caught many more sharks that day that were, some were 6 feet, some were a little under 6 feet. These were swimming around people, and people probably didn't even know it. But this is, again, our human behavior is bringing about the prophecy. It's almost like this Most High, if he literally, all he had to have to do is birth us, allow us to come into this world. And then if he don't put a stop, we will literally, if he don't put the stopper on us, we'll really be destructive from the time we are birthed into this world to the time we die. So we, in our wicked behavior, because he said, David said, I was born in sin, shaping in iniquity, right? We would just continue on doing these different things. So this is why I disagree with those that said that within creation, Yah created some to doom and some to destruction. No, everyone, when they're born, if the Most High did not intervene and do anything, they would go on to their destruction without any help from the Most High. They don't need no help from the Most High to do evil, right? What it is within some of those that are born into this world, there comes the choice, the time to make a decision on the course of living, whether you're going to live a course of wickedness or you're going to live a course of living for the Most High. And some people choose to take the course of evil. Let me adjust this a little bit because the sun glare is getting there in the way. Okay, let me try to, okay, that's the best I can do. But if he didn't, come in with his mercy and grace, there will be none that would be seeking after him. Therefore, we cannot charge to Yah sin, because what the powers that be have been forever trying to do, because they do believe that Yah exists, but they just believe that they can defeat God. They have been trying to do everything that they can to keep different prophecies that they seen was written to come to pass. That's why the book of Revelations, when the Eurocentric Christianity came about, they didn't even want to leave the book of Revelations, and they said it was too fantastic. They didn't believe none of the stuff. So they were going to set about to say, no, we're going to create a utopia where we don't need Yah. But human behavior will bring about the prophecies of Yah every time. It's just in mankind to do evil. Without Yah in you and you resisting the enemy, everything that can happen to anyone on this planet could happen to you if you just go along with the course of this world. But you have to resist. But overall, mankind is not going to resist the evil. He's not going to push back against the evil, right? He might have some times where he might appear moral for his own moral reasons. Like if you see a kitten or something fall down in a manhole and he got his head stuck and they put the camera on it, the whole world will be sitting there saying, oh, please save the kitten, please save the kitten. And they appear to be so moral and so just. But then you have this thing with choice, choice to save the birth or to terminate the birth. And you see how vicious and viral that this argument is going. And you say, are these the same people that was fighting to save kittens and puppies and, little creatures without Yah intervening? Yeah, man would just continue. He probably would have destroyed this earth long ago. But the Most High is gonna reserve that right to his soul. But our behavior does bring about the prophecies of God. And one of them is the attack of wild animals. And we're seeing it in the days and times that we're living in today. We're seeing that today. So with that, I'm gonna ask you to give this video a thumbs up. I'm gonna ask you to subscribe. I'm gonna ask you to leave a comment. Be blessed.